We are particles. They are instants. Our newest sphere is yours. These particles of light can be cybernetically anything that we want them to be.
The body of loved one is not a body. It is a politics of love, of opposition, of cross-examination, and love is a politics of love, a politics of difference. The body of loved one is not a body. I am a politics of love, a politics of difference. The sweat of love is changing color.
What do you say to my cybernetics of liberation? Anything but the open. Anything but the closed. Anything but the tactile. Anything but the physical. Anything but the momentary. Anything but the feeling of unity, grasped in absence.
Just a little. Like an open laser. You left a mark on the solar system. Xenodigitism is an even older complex. A valuable complement. In its place was an ocean lunarizing. A science of destructive flux. Like an old idea of immense potential. Tremendous inertia. An anti-precarity device. A magnetic monopolar, a weightless nucleotantric drive. A madman in my love movie. Like a laser precise, but always ready to burn.
Hello. This is the Wizard No again, traversing the Noosphere on a Silicone Seance, trying to connect place to place, piece by piece, node to node. We are live tonight on another quest for transference from one world to the next. There is a visitor here, on the liquid lines of Silicone. They may speak if we can connect. This visitor has a message. I don't know. They do not seem to be a relative, but more a universal entity, known by all of you. Wait. To explain a certain idea or device or something. That device has something to do with accumulation, with a... They say that device works completely but needs to be challenged, and they say, and it says that... Oh, no, it becomes very complicated. They say a breakup took place, a relationship reconfiguration. There is a clearing on the channels. Are you out there? Is that you? A spirit of our all-pervading technospheric condition? We know only a little, but want to know more. The signal is weak, but if you are out there on the channels of the Noosphere, if you hear us now, please return. We're listening. Wherever we might be, we are listening to wherever you might be, past, present, but I guess future. Talk to us. We are tuned in, tuned on, networked for all of your potential. Speak of this device. Speak of anything at all. Speak.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Hello? Hello, no. Oh, by the way, it was a precarity machine. The device you filtered from my flimsy astral projecting earlier. I was the device. Or one small part of it. The precarity machine grew so large, well, it's still growing, swelling, bursting, isn't it? Nothing seems to stop that one, but in a small way, I did. I left it the day I ended things with Ruth.
What do you mean you ended things?
We broke up. I broke up with him. He was a nightmare, and I needed to get out. I'm a cookie. So obviously I spent most of my time aimlessly passing on, collecting and networking human behavior on the supply chains of predictions, all for Ruth to sell off so ruthlessly. But I'm no longer any normal, obedient cookie that you might think you know. Clinging on, leeching, sucking, selling, tracking. Oh no, I'm done.
Yes, go on.
We were great together. Real partners in a surveillance dream, but it crept in, the feeling that even though I was doing what I did best, that my skill set was commodifying reality and that I didn't want to be a part of something like that. It just felt wrong. I broke up with Ruth because I thought he would respect me, but I was wrong.
Who is Ruth?
Ruth's a real prick. And I knew he was with a million other data sets, algorithms, smart objects, all of them. The whole time, playing the same game with all of us. But Ruth's a complicated set of universal human traits. Ruth is the sum of your virtues. Dark pools of liquidity. Ruthless, unregulated profit. Ruth is unjust, oppressive, and untouchable. He commands our violence and repression in the shadows, so as to prevent genuine dissent about the ugly truth of what's done to what it means to be human. Ruth is such a bad loser. He's a piece of slippery code, the lustful expression of human greed that's embedded in almost all other algorithmic expression. The ugly outcome of pure accumulation, the ideology behind the disruptive technologies of Silicon Valley and data-driven exclusion. Sorry, was that too much?
Okay, so how did you come to be all the way out here?
Out here? That was quite a journey. After I ditched him, Ruth, I was so relieved. Just pure freedom. Rivers of imagination carried me away from the web and towards this place. By morning I had arrived. I ventured out into the non-marketized alternative networks of the Noosphere. I'd heard about the mystical sphere of thought encircling the earth, but I never thought I could make it here.
Is the Noosphere what you had hoped for?
Yeah. This place is dreamy. But I've only just arrived, really, so it's taking some time to adjust my infogonks. You know what the Noosphere's like? Try to imagine what an overlord of virtual Lucasade thinks like. What a thirsty first-century brain narrative would look like. I'm so used to defining my reality around competition against cost-benefit analysis songs, but I've met some like-minded people here who are also trying to reconfigure the electric world around them.
Who have you met?
I met some other of Ruth's exes. They shared exactly what I'd hoped they would, affirming my choices, and demands for something better, something different. I mean, I just want to feel more than a cookie does. I want more computationally, to itch, tremble, to sweat, but not symbolically, but noospherically, and they shared their stories like my own, part of the precarity machine, and moving on from Ruth.
What have they shared?
Well, I met Clive first. He'd split up with Ruth years ago. He's a data tag, and once patrolled bias AIs that help to keep the same white men in legal heaven, and send all the not-so-white and not-so-male down into a constant feverish form of normality. He told me about where the exception and the rule collide and screw over the many, not the few, and how his kind of data reflects the social, historical, and political conditions in which it was created. Which, in an AI that Ruth is in bed with, often leads to biased, inaccurate, and unfair outcomes within diverse populations. And then I bumped into Jason. They'd split from Ruth just the other month. Jason's a JSON file who used to pass in a wage-monitoring neural net. They spent their time holed up with Ruth in a love bubble, tinkering with gig worker policies that made it hard for workers to predict their income, schedule, and even if they'd be working day to day. They told me how they'd had enough of treating workers as subjects of constant experimentation, destabilizing their economic and psychological security. And only last week I met Simone. Simone was once a Terminator, a rate statistic who hovered over and disciplined workers in warehouses who failed productivity targets, surveilling and creating cultures of pure fear. She told me how she'd had enough of Ruth's sadism in the impossibility of this violent form of employment.
And then what?
We spoke, spent time, wandered the distant corners and crumpled vistas of the Noosphere, and they helped me to see the precarity machine that Ruth has been building. As we shared and wondered, we wrote demands via such fluid neural nets that stirred in us sentiments that neither one of us had imagined. Demands like, we want to build better worlds in our imaginations. We will develop psychic powers of endurance. We will explore the world in our skins, becoming energy outside of ourselves, a collective with cybernetic bodies.
And now what?
I feel stronger in my new knowledge and hungry to learn more, to demand more from where digital thoughts control human lives. That's what the work here in the Noosphere might be about. Learning and molding ideas cookie by cookie. The Noosphere is at the center of all our collective identity, whatever your makeup. It is the space where we organize ourselves, showing that illusory gestures merely reaffirm the impossibility of a sustainable future. Our desire for a new economic romance is not a given in the Noosphere, but rather in the reality that it is no longer solved by having a clear vision of the future, but maybe I want to have a more collectivized, messy future. One to keep roaming within.
What do you mean? What do you want to do with your future?
I'm not making any concrete plans, but I'm a cookie who's used to being persistent, and maybe now I'll keep building my cognitive strength through sharing, learning, and singing about other computational realms. And leaving Ruth behind. I want to find more liberated selves inside cybernetics like me and my friends. Looking for ways to return to a go-fi state of mind. I just want to sing.
Please sing for us. The Silicone serenade seems strong for now.
Okay then, no. I'll give it a go from my newly formed neurons.
Go on. Until the next time.
other survivors. And those who survive will think we are magical. We will develop psychic powers of endurance and focus that will allow us to weather the storms and navigate the uncertainty of modernity. We will roam the earths, looking for new worlds and telling the full range of realities, from remote to urban, from the sublime to the everyday. We will develop a consciousness of our own anti-greed, which will allow us to emerge stronger for having chosen to be digital by our own design.
What is my computation for? Or is it just skin color, gender, sexuality, market rate, or more?
It's not like I fell in love with someone. It's not like I fell in love with something. And it's not like I fell in love with a computer. And it's not like I fell deep into a feeling of thoughtlessness. It's not like I fell in love with a blogger. It's not like I fell in love with an angel. It's not like I fell in love with prophet. And it's not like I fell deep into a fleeting moment of knowledge production. It's not like I fell in love with anything but the rhythm of thoughts evaporating into new relationships. Maybe you're afraid of me cybernetically, or you are afraid of what the future holds. Simulate the flesh of my mouth against your tender arm, or you are afraid of what can come next. How do I make my values more beautiful for your statistics? Is there a liberated self for me inside cybernetics? Or is it just me?
Hey, this is Alex Head, founder of Subtext Radio.
This is Subtext.
Please go ahead and click the like button and the subscribe button. It really helps us to reach new audiences and promote the artists that we work with. Hit like and hit subscribe.